This probably won't happen. This is wishful thinking. I'm wishcasting, so I'm just going to admit that I'm wishcasting.
Do it. I want to read your dream diary.
Yeah, my dream diary is that Trump goes away and that the winds shift in such a way that having supported Trump at some point becomes a badge of dishonor, right? Like, I assume what Sununu is doing, just to stop.
Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, who is fresh off of the worst TV hit she's ever done.
Is that a comment on how I look right now? Is that what that is? You look like you haven't shaved in a week.
I mean, I shaved yesterday. I haven't shaved this morning.
Oh,
but it's just a joke because since you've been doing your TV thing, I always feel bad because we do these things and you come from the studio and I come from the shower. And now this time, samesies.
Samesies. I know. I look like I'm in my jammies.
It's great. So listen, this is going to be a fun show. It's going to be a little bit like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because you have been in a tank all week long, cut off from news.
It's true. I was at a thing where your phones are mostly not to be used, and so I have not been following the news. I know Trump maybe fell asleep during jury selection. I know I just know little snippets of things, and so we're going to take this time, and you are going to catch me up on all the news,
and you're going to tell me what you think about it.
Yeah,
we have a jury. Oh. We have 12 men and women, my fellow New Yorkers, who are ready to sit in judgment of Donald J. Trump, and it's going to be great.
Okay.
Trump did fall asleep on the first 2 days, and then he scowled at prospective jurors in another one of the days. I have to say, the guy isn't made for this.
Are you sure? Because didn't he just wasn't he raised in courtrooms? Doesn't he just live in them his whole career?
Maybe. I don't think he often had to show, though. It's different when it's criminal. Anyway, I'm really trying hard to tamp down all of the any sort of expectation of anything good coming from this.
Why is that?
Well, because if you
does that mean you're getting hopeful, or is you are getting disappointed as you go?
No, I mean that I don't want to be hopeful because the problem is the reality is that he's guilty as sin.
Right.
And if you just focus on the reality, then you'll become hopeful, which is bad.
Oh, sure.
Right. So, I think it was David French who noted this week that it's funny during the Clinton impeachments and all of that, Republicans would say over and over again, look, I mean, sure, but put aside the law. Isn't the underlying behavior horrible? How can you defend that? I don't hear that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, as I understand it, because I do now a legal podcast with George Conway where he explains legal news to me, that Trump's defense is essentially, no, I wasn't trying to conceal this because of the election. I was trying to conceal it from my wife. Right. And a whole bunch of people are going to be like, see, what a good argument, as opposed to, hey, dirtbag, actually, this is behavior unbecoming of our commander-in-chief. But nobody thinks that.
Yes.
Everyone's just like, Melania's hot, and it's all fine, and who cares that he treats her like garbage?
And he didn't sleep. He says he didn't sleep with her, so he didn't sleep with her. But you know what? If he did sleep with her, it's that hussy's fault for coming on to him, and also good. It just shows what an alpha he is. This is what, he gets to have all of the things.
Yeah.
All of the things. It's funny. I was reminded, I'm writing today for today's newsletter, a thing about Trump's COVID response. And you see in various moments of it, that Trumpian way that he takes all sides of an issue within a single sentence. And so there's a moment in one of the press conferences where he says, we've told people to wear masks. It's the patriotic thing to do. Masks are very good. Or maybe they're only pretty good. Or maybe they're not very good at all. And so he just gets, his people know what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
The idea. But then he can say, no, see, we said that people should wear masks. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is exactly what he did during January 6th. When, he said the word peaceful once.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the, trial by combat, take your country back with strength. We've got to go down and show them that they can't steal an election. He goes, well, but I said the word peaceful.
They'll never take this country back with weakness.
Right. But I said peaceful. You can't. Yeah. And this is, as I like to think, it is. We've talked about this before. It is I was on that plane when a woman was having a very unhappy experience with a flight attendant and said, yeah, well, I've got a BOMB. And then said, right, you can't, because I didn't say it. Right? He thought she found a loophole. And that's what Trump does. So, like, the loophole is like, oh, but I said peaceful. You know, so what are you going to do? Anyway, I think he's going to be fine. Do you have any expectations of good things happening from this or no?
Well, I might come down to your instinct to distrust the people and my instinct.
Nobody ever goes broke betting against the wisdom of the American people.
Give the people a shot. Here's one thing I remember. Do you remember when Manafort was on trial? Mm-hmm. And there was a woman in that trial who was super duper MAGA. And she was like, this dude's guilty. And voted. Now, Trump pardoned him later. But this MAGA woman was just like, I don't know. We went through the paper trail and like it was pretty clear. And so I will maintain my positive posture on the people until proven otherwise. I will say the thing about, was he doing this to hide it from the American people in service of an election, or was he doing it to hide it from his wife, is like a state of mind question that I think can get tricky, right? So if somebody's looking for a way out, like you can give them that. And so it's going to be on the prosecution to really prove something. Like, and maybe they have this. Maybe they have the evidence. Maybe they have some kind of paper trail that it was designed for the election. And maybe there's evidence that Melania already knew. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out. But some of it, I really do think some of it depends on the evidence presented. You know, like how it is in a courtroom.
I mean, he was at the time campaigning for president and asking people to vote for him.
Sure.
So it's not like you could say, you know, like he would, there was this other thing happening that he, you know, was totally passive on, but hoped might happen to him. You know, he hoped he might win the lottery.
Yeah.
You know, it like he was actively trying to get people to vote for him. That, I don't know. But this brings us nicely to the first thing I wrote about this week, which was Chris Sununu, who, I don't know if you saw him. Did you see him go on George Stephanopoulos?
Actually, this was like the last thing I saw before I went dark. And actually, it made me want to go dark because I was so enraged by this interview. Good interviewing by old Georgie Stephanopoulos here, right? I just, the part where he was like, he was
like a dog with a bone for 9 minutes.
But the part where he was like, so let me get this straight. And he was just like, I'm going to build your rationale here. You think he caused this. You think he lied about the election. You think he's unfit, but you're going to vote for him. And Chris Sununu is like, yeah, me and 51% of Americans, which, by the way, not true that Trump's going to get 51%, I believe. I'm not saying he won't win. I'm just saying, like, the idea that he gets 51% seems unlikely since he's never crossed 51% in this country. Number two, it just showed what a coward Chris Sununu is. Like, okay, if 51% of the country believe, I mean, it's like jumped off a cliff, believed it with our third. 51% of the country
voted for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So does that mean Chris Sununu believes that Joe Biden was the better choice? No, this is literally true. It was 51% of the country voted for Biden.
Yeah.
So if that's how this works, does Chris Sununu just say, oh, well, I guess then Joe Biden was the best guy for the job?
I cannot tell you how despicable I think Chris Sununu is. And like I've said this before.
He's worse than Matt Gaetz.
He's worse. That's exactly right. He is worse than Matt Gaetz. Not just because of the permission structure it builds for the normies, because he's so craven. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly the threat Donald Trump faces. What a coward. It made me want to do angry things.
So here's my question for you, though. Why? Chris Sununu can't win another election for dog catcher. His career is over.
He could win. He could run for Senate in New Hampshire.
You think he could win a Republican primary?
Probably. The same way I think Larry Hogan can.
Maybe. But I don't know, man. I mean, I look at this like if all he wants to do is go make money and stay if he wants to stay a nominal Republican,
I mean, I assume
he just
the
doesn't
reason
have to
he's
oppose
doing
Trump.
this. No, I assume the reason he's doing this is to win a Republican primary in a run for Senate, New Hampshire.
Well, maybe that's it. God love him. But
by the way, that's not a reason to do it. Like
true.
And what I really hope, this is my fervent hope, is that Trump. This probably won't happen. This is wishful thinking. I'm wishcasting, so I'm just going to admit that I'm wishcasting.
Do it. I want to read your dream diary.
Yeah, my dream diary is that Trump goes away, and that the winds shift in such a way that having supported Trump at some point becomes a badge of dishonor, right? Like I assume what Sununu is doing, just to stop, that I assume what Sununu is doing is like, I'm going to run for Senate and then like, because he's got presidential aspirations. We all know that he does. But that like by the time he gets to the presidential run, when he's 68, that like you can't get elected doing what he did.
That would be karma.
You know, things have shifted a lot in the last 10 years. They could shift a lot more in the next 20.
I guess that's right. They could also shift a lot more to the worse, which is how I think they'll shift.
I know. Keeping hope alive here.
Hey, Sarah, there's more show.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Are we still talking? We have more talking?
We're still talking. The talking goes on. But that's only for the people who are inside the Velvet Rope, the Bulwark Plus members.
Oh, they got to subscribe.
Yeah. Tell them to subscribe. Tell the people,
You should subscribe,
Sarah.
Guys. Why wouldn't you subscribe? You get all kinds of things. You get some extra me and JVL. You get some extra me and George Conway. You get JVL's Triad. It's one of the best things the Bulwark offers. I read it at least once or twice a week.
Yes. Go and subscribe. We'd love to have you.